Operations for San Jose. I see you're already taking a look at a lot of video clips, but for you, I mean, what are you zeroing in on now that you have another week of time to prepare versus a bunch of games in a row?
Well, that's exactly what we're doing. We're preparing as much as we can, knowing that our schedule is going to get a little busier, a lot more hectic. We got a big weekend approaching here, two games back-to-back, afternoon games in San Jose, and then we're back home against Stockton. So, I mean, there's a lot of work to be done. It's kind of nice to have this week to prepare, both practice-wise and video and maybe systems-wise as to what we can expect from our opponents and what we need to do to continue to have the success that we've had of late. But you know what? I can't overstate the value of these practice days. It's been tremendous for our guys, and I think it's paying off. I mean, it's been a slow process, but we can see that we're making some headway and playing some much better hockey.
And with that, you're carrying a nice point streak into San Jose. You saw this Barracuda team a couple of weeks ago here at Citizens Business Bank Arena. And at that time, you were kind of expecting what you've seen in previous years from this group and their head coach. But now that you've seen them once and you're reviewing a lot of video, they got a lot of skill. So how do you plan on handling them? And what's your emphasis in that locker room when going over video meetings?
Well, you know what? We take what we can from the video provided in their pre-scouts of games that they've played recently against other opposition. You know, Manitoba is one we're looking at here right now. See what we can find out on what they're doing, what their tendencies are. But again, you've got some guys on that team that we're familiar with. Regan, Rookie of the Year last year, still a dynamic player at the American Hockey League level, and Grosnick, who was the goaltender of the year last year. I think he was. Yeah, he was. A heck of a year, Jay. Remind me a lot of you in your younger days. Covers a lot of net.
Thank you.
Yep, makes yourself look big. Read into that what you want, Jay.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, the whole covering the net thing was the best. All right, well, thanks.
Anyway, I mean, it's always a good matchup, and look forward to getting into San Jose.
And now development days today and tomorrow for the Ontario Reign, and it's an opportunity for some of these young guys to get back in that Kings mindset maybe a little bit. But in talking with some of the players that did not participate but have been a part of this development process, they know how crucial these days can be as a coaching staff. How nice is it to have them maybe step away from the X's and O's, knowing you've had so much time to have all these practices and review systems, and for them to work with the development staff and become better players, let alone better Ontario Reign players.
Well, I mean, the value speaks for itself when you look at the names that we have that have had great NHL careers are now getting on the ice with our guys and spending some extra time with them on certain skills. A lot of skill development goes into this. You know, whether it's, you know, protecting pucks or wall work or just a quicker release to maybe help you score some goals. You know what? It's tremendous, and to have those guys around is an extension of the coaching staff. It's different voices. They don't always have to listen to the same tired, old, grumpy voice all the time. They get to listen to some other people, and it's a wealth of knowledge. So the fact that we have it at our disposal is tremendous. It's part of our identity as the Kings organization, and the success that goes into it as far as they know, our players know, that there's a lot of people within the organization that are willing to do anything they can to help them get better, become better players, and hopefully become NHL regulars.
And they turn to a lot of examples of success, too, that you've seen already this season. Mike Amadio, you see Johnny Brodzinski, Adrian Kempe, Curtis McDermott, and you had another list, Justin Auger, and then now Andrew Crescenzi gets the call here today. And you've had him for quite some time in the system. He's a guy that's been battling, maybe like a Justin Auger. He's had to be patient with the process, but it's paying off. What are your thoughts on him finally getting that phone call?
Well, it's a great story. I mean, you know, Cress was not a draft pick of the Kings, was acquired through a trade with Toronto, and you know what? He's come a long way. It's a real good story in the fact that Cress wasn't even invited to main camp the first year, you know, and that's a tough thing. He just reports straight to Manchester, and you know what? He ended up being, you know, fourth probably on the depth chart as far as centermen behind Shore, Wheel, and Dowd. And you know what? He embraced the role that he had as a fourth line centerman. Huge on faceoffs, great penalty killer, and he's really forged an identity through that. And you know what? It's a good example of, you know, it's not all about stats. It's not all about numbers and goals and assists. You know what? Hockey people recognize the value of a guy like Cress and what he brings to the team. And you know what? John Stevens has been thoroughly impressed with Cress in the 4 years that he's been here. And now he's getting an opportunity to play in the NHL. First game, first crack at it. So you know what? We're thrilled for him. I mean, it's a tremendous feeling for him. I know his family's going to be excited. And you know what? We'll all tune in tonight and see how he makes out.